This is the power of testimonies in reviews. Okay, so reviews are simply what others are saying about us, and reviews are usually what's the word I'm looking for? Systematized, processed. They are set in a way that is presentable. Okay, so when I say reviews, I'm talking about Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews, what people are saying about us on your website. There might be a section called what people are saying about us. There's a section in Facebook, but people can also post on your Facebook profile, share some stories about what happened or even what they share on Facebook. Okay. Now, the difference between a review and a testimony is obviously a testimony has a spiritual aspect to it. And it's not necessarily like all testimonies can be reviews, but not all reviews are testimonies. Okay. Going back to the introduction of the show, a review can simply be 5 stars, great worship music, easy parking, the coffee was good, the pastor was funny. That's a review. That's not a testimony. Okay. But a testimony is, I was having a hard time. I couldn't afford rent. This church helped me out. This church helped me manage my family, get them together. And now we're actually a fully functional, well-living family because this church showed us that being a family is not just a contract with the government, but it's an actual relationship that's a reflection of our Creator, right? That's a long testimony and maybe not the best review, but it's still a testimony that can be used as a review. 5 stars, because if I'm having trouble with my marriage and I'm turning to church, I may see myself in that review and say, well, this church obviously helps families. My family needs help. Let me go see that church and see what that church can do with me. This is why testimonies make the best reviews. Because again, happy family, friendly pastor, good coffee, that could be any church. Okay. But again, your church was uniquely planted and uniquely equipped to uniquely reach a unique group of people. So you need unique testimonies in your review. Okay. So not only that, here's the best part. Here's the whole point of today's episode, the under the radar method to get your testimony seen by more people. Your testimonies can be shared without needing them or people to come to your website, and you don't need them to follow you on social media. Okay. How is this possible? You're not going to be driving around with a bullhorn. Listen to what Jesus did, right? Come outside. You're not going to try and trick people walking around with and people think, oh, the ice cream guy's here. And it's just you outside on a bullhorn. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're talking about using reviews, which are publicly accessible, often seen when people are in the mood of, or in the vibe, or in the call of looking for a church. I don't want to say in the mood for looking for a church, but I'm saying like they feel God's pull. I'm moving. I need a church. Something is happening in our church. We need to find someone that can better serve us. Okay, I'm not talking about church shopping. I don't want to transplant the saints. I want to grow the kingdom. But sometimes churches just have a falling and someone needs to be better served somewhere else, or there's an incident. I don't want to talk about why someone needs to leave a church, but if that's the case, they need to find one that's better equipped to serve them. They need to find one, maybe they've been given a revelation and they realize their church isn't really a church. It's just a motivational conference. And they're like, I need to find some real Jesus in my life. Okay. Whatever that is, they're going to go searching for churches. The number one thing they're going to look at, again, they're going to hear what you say, but they're going to believe what others say. And the best objective source for that are online reviews, Google reviews, Facebook reviews. We got reviews in Apple now, pulling from Yelp. Okay. What are others saying about you? And we could go even a step further, which we'll talk about in about 3 weeks. We're going to talk about public relations, and they can see what others are reporting on you. And we have a way to put your best foot forward on that. But again, that's 3 weeks down the line, because if you can't get this, you're not going to get that. All right. This is a process. We got to build the outside of the puzzle before we go fill in the inside. Okay. So the reviews that are out there, the platforms that are out there, Google, Yelp, Facebook, those are the big ones, okay? You can go even to the tinier ones, the denominational ones, but that's where you get more into the transplant of the saints. What I want to talk about is Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews. Those are the big 3. People are going to check those because everyone is going to check Google. Everyone has Facebook. Not everyone's going to click through to your website. The data shows this. We could get 1,000 impressions for a church, but only 100 clicks, because people are going to see the church. They're not going to click through. But We can see how many reviews are left, how many people are checking the reviews, clicking through because of the reviews, reading the reviews, clicking on the profile, seeing where the church is. We can see all that happen. And guess what? The more quality reviews that you have across the internet, Google being the most important one, if you just focus on one, they say just focus on one or two social media platforms, just focus on one review platform. Google's going to be the biggest one. You are going to get more people to see not only your church, but God moving in your church through your testimonies. Now, we're going to get into how to get those testimonies into reviews, how to ask for reviews without sounding desperate, and how to get those reviews in a way that's not friendly church, happy people, been here all my life, isn't this so great? But actually, I once was lost, but now I'm found. And this is how that church helped me in this process. Okay, the other thing that's very powerful, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The other thing that's very powerful about reviews is that they're accessible through any platform. I don't need to be logged into Facebook to see your Google review. I don't even need to be logged into Google to see your Google review. Okay, I can be in my Apple Maps looking for just what church is near me. I click on that and I'm seeing reviews on you that they're pulling from Yelp. Okay, I hope my information on that is right, but that's my understanding of what happens here and what my team is doing, okay? So when we go out and look at these platforms, I don't need them to be on my website. I don't need them to be following me on social media. I just need them to be looking for a church, okay? And they will see our testimonies. And again, the testimonies, remember this, guys, the testimonies are the most important asset because people will hear what we say about ourselves, but they'll believe what others are saying about us. And especially when it comes to Jesus, we're going to come off as manipulative and hypey, like, look at Jesus, isn't this so great? Look at us, we're so great. But if someone comes alongside and says, look, I've tasted and I've seen, this church is it. Okay? And if I can see someone that looks like me, if I can see a husband that says this is great for my family, if I can see a wife, if my wife can see a woman that says this is a safe and secure kids program, if my dad can see a review that says that my church left me behind, but this one is still in tune with the gospel and singing classic hymns that I can worship to without distraction and feel that personal connection like I had when I was younger, my dad would go to that church, okay? Because that's the kind of church he's yearning for, all right? So the review can show that people like me are going there. And that is something that if you, by the way, you should be asking this, total set aside here. In your new members orientation, your assimilation class, whatever you call it, you should be asking people what made you choose our church. What was that decision process like? Most of the time, what our clients share is that people say, I saw people that looked like me. It looked like you understood me. The way you talked showed that you jived well with me, essentially. Okay. So that's why we need pictures on the platform. That's why we need to focus on our messaging to speak to these people. So they say, you didn't sound like every other church. So I know you're not going to treat me like every other church. And every other church has burned me, abused me, left me to hang on dry, or just asked me until I had nothing left to give. And Jesus wasn't the focus. So if you want to get people like that on board, guess what? You've got to sound like no other church. And the best way to do that, share your testimonies so people can see that people like them are being changed in the church. And your church is the guide in their spiritual journey.